Are you looking for some ways to create spring vignettes in your home? Well then stay tuned. Hi everyone, Pam here from Creative Homescaping. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I post several videos a week on how to creatively manage and decorate your home. In today's video, I am participating in the Spring Cloche Collab that's being hosted by Kimberly of the channel Diva Designing on a Dime with Kimberly Davis. Please be sure to check out her channel as well as the playlist of all the participants. I'm sure you'll get a lot of inspiration. I know I did because I actually only have one cloche in my home, and that cloche covers the cake topper that I had at my wedding, which is blown glass, and I don't want to take it out of that cloche. So I had to come up with something else to use instead of a cloche. So I hope you'll keep watching to see what I did. So I needed to do a little DIY before I could actually put my cloche together. I'm going to be using the wreath I showed you, these pieces of lavender I clipped off of a bunch of lavender, some zip ties that are relatively short, and then I am also using these snippers, which I'll be using to clip off the end of the zip ties. So here I am taking these sprigs of lavender and just bending them so they will fit around the wreath form with the right arc to them. Then I'm going to take the zip tie and attach it to one of these stems of lavender. But I am not going to attach the front end of it until the very end so that I can overlap the pieces and connect them together. This was a little bit tricky because I didn't want to get any of the greenery in there as well, but I finally managed to get the pieces all put together, and then here's how the wreath looks. Next, I'm taking some museum putty, and I'm going to attach the pieces inside that will be inside the cloche all together with museum putty so they won't slide around when I go to move the cloche or pick it up. So here I'm just making a little bit of a snake out of the museum putty by rolling it between my fingers and then pushing it down onto the base of this little cupcake pedestal, and then pushing that onto the little silver dish. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the bird. Take a piece, put it onto the base of the bird, and then adhere the bird to the cupcake pedestal. Next, I'm taking some museum putty and adhering it to the bottom of the wreath. Now, I'm not going to put the wreath on yet. You'll see that coming up a little bit later. And then the last thing I'm going to do is cut off some pieces of Spanish moss. This was a little bit difficult, but I wanted to keep the moss in the bag because it's kind of messy. And then I'm just spreading the pieces of moss around the base of the cupcake stand in the little silver dish. Okay, let's get going. So here is what I'm going to be using instead of a cloche. This is a hurricane candle jar. I bought this many years ago. I think I actually got them from Pier 1 on clearance one year. And I actually have two of them. So I am making two cloches. I have two birds, but I'm just showing you one for now. But now that I have my base all museum putty together so it won't go anywhere, and a nice bed of the Spanish moss laid down to protect the rim of the candle jar, I can go ahead and assemble. The first thing I'm going to do is to carefully place the hurricane jar upside down over the bird on the pedestal. And I'm going to pull out a little bit of, pull the moss out a little bit more so it cushions it a bit more. There. And I should probably tell you, I have two of these silver dishes as well. I picked them up at Goodwill several years ago. I actually bought them at separate times, but they are exactly the same silver dish. This little cupcake stand, that's actually that actually belongs to my daughter. I borrow a lot of her things since she's still living here. But these birds are mine, the hurricanes are mine, silver platter is mine. Now, when I put this in here at first, I thought it looks pretty, but this top area here I wasn't that happy with. So I decided to see what I could do to make it look a little bit more interesting. So I had these wreaths that I picked up from the Target dollar spot after the holidays. I think they were 50% off or 75% off at the time I got them, but since they are frosted, they didn't look very spring-like. But I added in, you saw in the video, some of the lavender I picked up from Walmart. So, and then I've just stuck some more museum putty on the bottom of the wreath so that I could put it on top of the hurricane, since the wreath part was a little bit bigger than the base of the hurricane. And then I'm just pushing down on the areas where I had the museum putty. That way it won't move around and it'll be sturdy. So I liked how that looked too, but then it looked a little flat. So I decided I was going to add in some other flowers. So I'm taking some more museum putty, I'm putting it in the center of the hurricane pedestal. And then I've just taken a group of white roses that I've used in many of my pieces, and I've arranged them, I've 3 of them, and they're sort of making a triangular shape. And then I just kind of take them and push them into the museum putty so that they stick. There. And there you have my spring hurricane. Now I will show you how they both look because I have them set up in my entryway. So stay tuned. And here's how I am using my 2 cloches that I created for this challenge. I have this wreath up here that I showed you how I made in another video, which I will link for you, so in case you've missed it. And that is the reason I wanted to use the lavender on those kind of sparkly small wreaths that I had, so that it would tie in with the lavender that I have on this wreath that I have hanging on the mirror in my front entryway. So I am really happy with how this looks. It's very spring-like, but it's still staying neutral, which I've been loving this year, having neutral decor for this early springtime. Actually, late winter, early spring, so the frost is actually appropriate. And I just think the little birds fit perfectly in here. And I'm so happy I was able to come up with a solution for not having an actual cloche to use for this challenge. So what did you think? I was pretty happy, as I mentioned, about how it turned out. And I didn't need to go out and buy anything. I had all of that on hand. And that's what I've been trying to do this year, is decorate with things I have on hand and that I love. Let me know in the comments down below if you decorate with cloches around your house, particularly in the springtime. And now I'd like to extend a big thank you to Kimberly Davis for hosting this challenge. It was a lot of fun to participate in. If you're new to my channel, from the challenge, I do post several videos a week on how to creatively manage and decorate your home. So I hope you'll subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button in the description box or the icon in the corner of this video. I look forward to seeing all of you next time. I truly appreciate your watching, and happy spring decorating, everybody. Bye-bye.